You'll need a shower when we're done with you, Pat.
Rolling.
Josh Arnold, investment consultant, brings you Garage Logic podcast number 1591, August 4th, 2025. 100 degrees on this day in 1947, and as chilly as 48 degrees on this day in 1978. Call Josh Arnold at 952-925-5608 for a free 48-minute consultation.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Heidt in the newsroom, and of course, the rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Souchere.
We're joined in studio by Pat Garofalo, who was a reasonably sane and well-balanced legislator for many years, who managed to keep a grip on reality and real life. I don't know how you did that. Now you are with the grocers industry.
I am the president of the Minnesota Grocers Association.
Well, this isn't why I wanted to talk to you, but right off the bat, I think a city-run grocery store would work just great, don't you?
Yeah. Well, yeah. If you could just combine the efficiencies of bureaucracy with the production management and fraud oversight of state government, I'm sure it would just be great. No, it's a horrible idea. It's a disastrous idea. And the sad thing is that simply...
It's so unimaginative. I mean, this is what these kids come up with, these people running for city council seats. This is what they think of?
Well, because you have to understand, like, there is, and thank you, the at the very basic mind level, when you're a little kid, right, you learn the concept of irrigation. Mm-hmm. You got too much water in one place. Mm-hmm. There's not enough somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So what you do is you redistribute the water from where it is to where it needs to go, and we all win. You have less flooding. You have more productive crops. Mm-hmm. You redistribute the water. And if it works for water, why wouldn't it work for money?
Because that's not the way money works.
Well, no, but again, it's a rhetorical question, Joe, but you understand. Like, again, you can understand why from a simplistic standpoint, this is why Marxism has such an appeal to younger people, because it sounds so basic. Well, why wouldn't you just take from A to B? And in the case of the food industry, the problem from their perspective is not the ridiculously high property taxes on commercial properties in Minneapolis and St. Paul. It's not the theft. The employees have there's a legal system that prevents them from stopping theft. There's an organized crime issue out there of organized retail theft, and people can't. They're not being prosecuted. So that's not the problem. The problem is just if we just put good people with good intentions in charge of something. Then
even if they work from home.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's such a horrifically bad idea. And there's actually one, they did this down in Kansas City most recently. Did you read about that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And like, you go with and the shots of it, they are the Soviet-style grocery store.
Absolutely.
The empty shelves.
Right.
And people are just, and Joe, here's the funny thing. It doesn't seem to matter how much more money they put into it.
Right.
It doesn't get better.
No.
It's like, I wonder why that is. So,
well, that's exactly what I wanted to talk to you about, although not necessarily related to food. The headline in yesterday's Star Tribune was State Seeks to Axe Housing Program. And what we've learned is this housing stabilization program that apparently was dreamed up by the legislature and then handed off to the Department of Human Services hasn't worked. It's been fraudulent.
Well, define worked. It's made a lot of people rich.
Right.
So it was effective at that.
Right. But what I wanted was your take on why do we have to live like this? And what will it take to change this? There will be no consequences for any of the people involved in this. There will be no repercussions. What culture is in place in state government where this has become the norm now, that the leaders of health and human services, they're patting themselves on the back saying, well, we'll get to the bottom of this. This time we'll do it right, and on and on and on. In the meantime, the people of Minnesota are just being taken to the cleaners.
So you made a lot of statements in that question,
Yes.
but I want to correct you on something that you were wrong.
All right.
And I don't want to pick a fight with you. First of all, good afternoon. It's good to
How
see
are you? How are you?
You know, actually, to be honest, I'm crummy right now because I'm a frugal guy.
Yeah.
I don't like to spend money. And my daughter's getting married next month.
You are
Best of luck to you.
All right.
No, and like, but I understand. Listen, in case anyone in the family is listening, it's a beautiful day. I'm super excited. But like, I'm getting crotchety in my older ages now, and I don't like to spend money. These people in the wedding industry, if I could just go on a tangent
go
here.
ahead.
Well, we're a long way from the Housing Stabilization Act.
Joe, I'm telling you, these people in this wedding industry, they need to be incarcerated. This is. I'm sure there are some good actors
Highway
out there.
robbery.
Man, they have you. I have never spent more money on something with absolutely no leverage whatsoever as a consumer.
Joe,
Never.
Tell
Anyways.
him about Taylor, Joe. Go ahead.
Taylor. What about Taylor Swift?
Yeah, and how much? Because I'm thinking to you, you paid for colleges, then you paid for weddings, then you paid for Taylor Swift, and now what are you going to pay for? Who's coming to town? Rolling Stones?
Well, and plus
Beatles?
Rook just had a grandkid, so
Yeah, so he's
I'm on the hook there.
Joseph Henry Souchere II.
What? The venue? You mean, or
Everything.
The whole thing.
Everything.
So first of all,
I happen to know a little bit about
I was just
the.
going to say, you were talking to a guy that dabbles
I
in
happen
the
to
industry.
know a little bit
So,
about the industry.
and again, so you get a venue, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you got to put down the X $1,000 deposit 13
course.
months in advance, and it's
of
like,
course.
seriously? And it's like, well, yeah. I mean, how else? Okay, all right, I guess. And then I'm like, we got some caterers that we're looking at doing. We have our list of approved caterers.
That's right.
Yes.
That's
And
right.
Here is the marked up list that you're allowed
Let's
to choose
cut to the
from.
chase. Who's doing the flowers?
Actually, we have a family. That's one of the opt outs. We got a family member helping us with that one,
Okay.
so that's okay.
I'm in whether I want to be or not. I'm kind of in the flower end of it.
Are you?
More
On the giver or the
manual
taker?
labor.
Manual labor.
Manual labor is
He's
what
the
he is.
delivery
Are you?
expert.
He's out
for it.
picking them.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to derail the conversation, but you did ask how I was doing, so I thought.
Yeah.
But no, all kidding aside, we're very excited.
How
for
many
the date.
daughters do you have?
Just one.
Oh, then what are you complaining about?
What are you talking about?
If you are,
I led by saying that I'm a frugal man who doesn't like to spend. No, she's actually, her and her future husband have been great.
Is he employed?
He is, and listen.
good.
First of all, no one is good enough for my daughter.
Of course not.
Okay, but this guy comes pretty darn close.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Are they going to live in your house?
No, actually, you heard me talk about migration and my concerns about it.
Yeah. They're leaving, huh?
They are.
Yeah, well, I don't blame them.
They're moving to Tennessee.
I don't blame them one bit.
Oh,
Yeah.
everybody from Minnesota is going to Tennessee.
What's that?
Nashville or Knoxville?
Knoxville.
Knoxville?
And again, I can't criticize
Are those
them
the
for
only
it.
two cities you know in Tennessee?
I have-
How did you come up with one of the two was the right
Because
answer?
I was just at a wedding in Knoxville,
Oh.
and that was that big, huge. They got some money.
Yeah.
No, and you talk about this. We've talked before about the migration out of Minnesota and stuff, right? But I'll tell you, when a family member does it, it hits differently. And it's like you see these statistics and these spreadsheets, but and I'm not criticizing them. Like, they get to go where the weather's nicer. There's more economic opportunities. There's no income tax. Cost of living's better. They don't have their shit stolen left and right from their tax dollars. And
Right.
so, but no. Anyways, getting back to your question about the housing stabilization program, I want to correct one thing you said, and you said something along the lines of, "No one's going to be held accountable." Mm-hmm. You are mistaken.
Okay.
The Department of Justice is on
Oh,
this.
okay.
And you ever hear like the phrase like, you wait until your dad gets home, like that
Right.
used to mean something,
Right. Doesn't
Well-
mean anything anymore.
Well, I think it does. When
Joe Thompson?
yes,
Yeah. I'm
This
a
guy's-
fan so far.
this guy, and he's Minnesota, and this is not, I want to be very clear with people. We get all these conversations, they get broken down into smaller government, bigger government, Republican government, Democratic government. Nope, this is just plain smart government, dumb government. Okay, that's all this is. And when you set up programs that lack oversight, that lack integrity, and the fraudsters come in and professionalize what is it? They are good fraudsters and they fleece things. There's accountability. And when this program got axed, this is a sea change. And I want to first of all say that I have access to no inside information. I have not spoken with anyone at the Department of Justice. Okay, so this is my opinion. But when you see these things take place in other areas, there's a point at which there's a tipping point. Okay? We have transitioned now, because of this, from a point where people were deflecting and denying it was happening, that people are pivoting to self-preservation. This is where you're going to start seeing, if it follows other jurisdictions, people stop cooperating, people start lawyering up, and whatever you have, when you have these amounts of money, it leaves digital footprints. And the Department of Justice is on this, and I think we're just beginning to see it.
I have a question that precedes all that.
Okay.
I happen to agree with everything you just said. I'll read from this story yesterday in the Sunday paper. The agency announced Friday that it is taking the unprecedented step to end the program. A letter sent by DHS to the Federal Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services asks to stop the medicated funding benefits. Here's the key that I wanted to say. DHS said it intends to redesign and relaunch the program. Why wasn't that done the first time? That's my question is, what happens in this large building where the thousands of employees at DHS, or in the case of the Food Fraud Department of Education, I have been continuing to struggle with the idea that somebody had to be in a cubicle. At some point, someone had to write a check for Ali's food bank that was claiming to serve 5,000 kids a day, and they didn't. They don't do anything. That doesn't occur to them that that's not plausible. What happens in there? What culture is existing in these government programs that are so insidious that they now think, well, we'll just tell the public we'll do this again, but we'll do it better this time. BS. I hope they don't get a chance to do it again. I hope Thompson prevails.
Well,
what happens to these people when they go to work?
So first of all, and we can see like I want to give kudos to a friend of mine who has been on this for 10 years. And I think you've had him on his show, Bill Glahn.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Bill Glahn was my...
Center of the American Experiment.
Yep, so before that, back in 2015, Bill was my lead researcher on the committee that I chaired.
All right.
Okay.
What committee?
The Job Growth, Energy Affordability, Policy, and Finance Committee.
All right.
Okay.
It's fun.
Yeah, it was awesome, actually.
Okay.
Huge jurisdiction. I will tell you, and I say this from a place of humility, there were several times when I had been pitched on ideas, I had done research, and I was willing to support something, funding something in negotiations, where Bill would pull me to the side privately and be like, hey, just so you know, here's some additional information you may not know. That guy saved my bacon so many times, or else I would have funded some things that I'm really against and I would have never known. And so Bill has been talking about this for 10 years, going back to child care assistance fraud, housing fraud, the Feeding Our Future scandal going on.
We shouldn't live like this.
No, we should not. And it's because, and what happens is there's a culture of good intentions and best wishes, right? It's a cultural thing. And the spigots have been open, and the focus is on spending. And you have people that come in, and they are professional fraudsters, and they have a battle plan for attacking these public programs. And we know that there were employees who started raising concerns with this. And what did these fraudsters do? They didn't just sit back and say no.
Oh, they went on the attack.
They went on the attack. And so you're an employee, you're working 40 hours a week, and all of a sudden you start getting accused of being a racist. You start being attacked personally, right? And then they go in and they start targeting the political leadership. And there's the endless reservoir of white guilt in this state. It is a renewable resource. And so it's a really good model is if you come, I shouldn't say really good, it's an effective model, it's shrewd, that when you're stealing money and you don't have shame, when you get confronted, you double down. You go to the elected officials, you go to the executive leadership, and they start putting pressure on it. I mean, these fraudsters they didn't back away. They doubled down. They kept pushing.
Well, Omar Fateh thought it was immoral to have the payments stopped.
Absolutely. No, I mean, like,
what the hell?
Well, no, I mean, again, I don't. For someone like me, where I was involved, I've seen this going on for 10 years. Remember, people who raised this when this was brought up, we were ridiculed. Okay, we were attacked. So the first thing is you say that's not true. It's misinformation. You're targeting these people. It's abusive. And when
Fake
that
news.
doesn't, and when that doesn't work, you play the card of you're targeting these newcomers because they're racist and you're being racist. And remember, it doesn't mean there isn't real racism in society. But remember the people who got busted trying to buy off the federal juror?
Yeah.
They got the manual. And
Right.
in the manual, it said, claim they treat newcomers differently, accuse them of racism. Like this is their playbook. And it happens to work really good. And the more and when you take that on, when you fight that, you antagonize a very vocal, very energized and growing segment of Minnesota, which is the fringe left, the DSA wing. We're not talking about normal Democrats. We're talking about the Democrat Socialists of America who, they just won they just got an endorsement for. And so there's this battle going on between normal Democrats and the DSA. And Democrats have got to get their shit together on this stuff.
Real Democrats.
Yeah. And Republicans need to too, by putting people up who are palatable and can get elected. But this is a real problem.
But the fraud here is overwhelming through all agencies. It's just it's profound.
Yes, and Joe, and so I want to be very clear. I have not talked to anyone at the Department of Justice. I have no access to any inside information. I will tell you, just based on my experience in government and seeing what's going on, it appears that there is a Minnesota task force in the Department of Justice. And they know that if they dig for corruption in Minnesota's public programs, they're going to strike gold. It's that target rich of an environment. I don't think this is going away.
And
I think these guys I think they are digging in.
Why shouldn't this just so obviously disqualify Walz from any future political aspirations? He's the boss, and he's failed miserably.
So again, all these conversations flow back to left versus right, big or small, the partisan polarized thing. Let's just move the current attorney general out of the debate, move the governor out of the debate, right? No one wins when we're getting fleeced. And at some point here, everyone has a breaking point where they can't tolerate this stuff. And
apparently I've reached mine.
Yeah, but in fairness, this stuff started before he got there. Okay, so again, I don't want to get into
I know,
right?
That's cool.
But this stuff, this has been going on for 10 years. Remember, you had investigators in these home daycare, the subsidized daycare stuff, reporting what was happening and what happened. They were ridiculed. They were told that this was a targeted attack. These were embellishments. It's just, admit nothing, deny everything, make counter accusations. But I'm hoping, it seems to be like now that accountability is being enforced, you're actually seeing things starting to change. But I can't emphasize this enough to your listeners. It is so much better and more efficient if the programs are designed properly.
And they aren't.
Right. If you do it on the front end, it is so much better to design and administer the program properly as opposed to chasing everybody down and throwing them in jail. Don't get me wrong.
Why weren't they designed properly on the front end? Because of that culture of white guilt and friendliness, and we want to send our virtue and help everybody we can who's marginalized, and on and on and on. That shouldn't excuse not designing a good program.
Well, it's about, again, it's not about intent. It's about effectiveness, right? And this is you try emphasizing this to people. This is about competent administration of funding things. But and this is one of the consequences of our more polarized political climate, right? You just have less accountability. As our politics become more tribal, people on the progressive left, who I would say are good government types, who see this, they're embarrassed by it, right? They turn the other way because, on the other hand, they look over and see a mega Republican like Trump doing crazy stuff, and it just distracts them.
Well, the problem I faced on this show is my criticism of Walz is countered by the left as saying, well, obviously he's pro-Trump.
Well, yeah.
You can't win here.
No, and this is why in a state like Minnesota, where one of our strategic advantages has always been that we worked in the past was that we work together better than other places, right? So whether it's a family, a neighborhood, a business, when everyone's rowing the boat in the same direction, you're more effective. In Minnesota, one of our core tenets is we've just worked together better. So as things have gotten more polarized and tribal in our politics, it's causing more damage to the public programs here than it has in other states. Like, places like Mississippi, they've always had their shit messed up, right? But like Minnesota, like this has been our thing that we do things better. Yeah. And so we have to restore that model of cooperation and depolarize things. But that's why when it's like, how does this happen? Ultimately, all the stuff that has happened. This is the answer of why you have what you have. So this stuff really started kicking off in like 2015.
Hold that thought.
All right.
I want to go for shit.
Roll the boat.
I want to address this to your daughter and the soon-to-be son-in-law. They might not have to go as far as Knoxville. They could go to Sioux Falls.
Oh, look at that. That's a
Nice and
segue.
close.
Look at the numbers. In addition to having the business-friendly tax environment, with no personal or corporate state income taxes, Sioux Falls has a large, well-educated workforce, kind of a food town, too, I'm hearing. I'm not entirely sure about that, but I think it is.
Sure they got some good
Cost of
stuff.
living is low, centrally located. Pat, you could get down there in that. Well, I don't know if you have enough range. Never mind. Contact the Sioux Falls Development Foundation to connect with tools and resources to stop searching for a perfect business site. Start growing in Sioux Falls. Most affordable city in the country, rated by Empower. It ranks first in the nation for total bank assets with $3.5 trillion. It's a great place to do business. There's no, as I said, no state or corporate personal income tax, no inheritance tax, and no limits onto what your business can achieve. Forbes magazine says the best small city for business and careers. Find out more at SiouxFallsDevelopment.com.
Reavers here once again for my guy, Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Well, sometimes the anxiety from wondering if you've saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? Well, Mr. Money Talk is going to be able to sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk, never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute, no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608 and set up your free 48-minute, no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice.
Chris Reavers is a paid endorser.
The earth is not your mother. The Joe Souchere Show.
We have a brand new marketing partner here at Garage Logic, the podcast. If you need secure storage, safe from the weather, the rodents, and Johnny Sneakum with ill intentions, AnywayStorage.com can help with a variety of shipping containers. They have locations in Grand Rapids, Stewartville, and Ellendale. That means AnywayStorage.com has Minnesota, the Dakotas, Wisconsin, Iowa, and portions of Canada covered. This is a Minnesota-based business where you can actually stop into their yards and shop for the shipping container of your choice. They offer 10, 20, and 40-foot long containers. They're sealed, lockable, keeping your stuff out of the weather and safe from criminal explorers. Now, they're perfect for, let's say, cabin owners or you folks with undeveloped hunting property. You can leave your boats, your wheelers, side-by-sides, whatever. You can leave it at your property with peace of mind. One of the great parts, though, and I mentioned this, you can actually see the unit, pick out the unit you want, and they'll drop it off for you at your time and place of choosing. And I love this. Mice, critters, they'll never bother your stuff again. These storage containers seal up with no openings. Check out the website, then make plans to acquire your own secure storage shipping container, anywherestorage.com. That's, did I say anywhere? I meant anywheystorage.com.
We're speaking with Pat Garofalo, served many years in the legislature. You said earlier that when people reach the breaking point, who has reached the breaking point?
Well,
do you think Walz has reached the breaking point?
At some point,
have the voters?
Well, that's the thing we're going to find out. But if you look back at this, really started kicking off 10 years ago, right?
Okay, and that I didn't cover it 10 years ago like I do today,
right? But it's been getting gradually or substantially worse and worse. But really, we talk about, well, where's the accountability in state government? Who's lost their job? Mm-hmm. Okay, well, who's an elected official who's lost their job? The voters. Has this risen to a point where the voters are holding elected officials accountable?
Not yet.
No. So the remedy in this situation, I mean, you can obviously, and again, I have to emphasize this enough, Joe, just because people read into my comments. I have not spoken with anyone at the Department of Justice at all, okay? And I haven't, not directly or indirectly, but I can observe the process and I can see how people are behaving differently. That is going to enforce some level of accountability. I mean, they've had the Feeding Our Future scandal now. I think we're up to 51 people have been sentenced in that. So there is some element of that. However, until the leadership is held accountable from an elected standpoint, it doesn't matter if it's legislative, attorney general, governor, whatever. Until there's political accountability, the problems will persist. I mean, you can't lock everybody up. Or you can try, but that's why the route is to have these programs designed in a more effective way. And the comment I was going to make, the two comments I was going to make before the break there, which was, by the way, a perfect segue. That was
thank you.
That was
very nice.
That was,
well, I'm a professional.
That's 5 stars right there. Yelp review.
Right.
Is number one, we haven't seen any elected officials even after the Feeding Our Future scandal came out. Remember, in 2024, there was one incumbent member who lost re-election. So whatever the voters are saying, they're not voting in a manner that they care about it. But if you go back to when this started, back in 2013, remember Dayton was governor. He passed a huge tax increase. This was tax the rich. We're going to use this for higher quality government services. It's going to improve the quality of life in Minnesota. When you had that influx of money coming into the state treasury, it's just there's less oversight, right? There's less bean counting. People scrutinize things the more they're under tighter financial constraints. But in the case of, that's what kind of kicked things off right there. And then you started getting with the daycare fraud rolling, and then you get into a model of when you have home and community-based service providers, which again, it's all on paper. It's the best of intent. This program right here, they're getting rid of. It's about helping people with mental illness and chemical and substance abuse, have supportive services. It, again, sounds good in practice. But if you don't have the right leadership, and I've said this before and it's worth repeating, there's nothing more expensive than poor leadership.
It grew to 1,700 providers. That's not possible.
Well, just the sheer number of businesses in one building.
Of Griggs Midway.
Yes. Okay. So, and I don't. Please don't misunderstand.
Each door had a new service name on it.
Yeah. But it's not the only stuff. I mean, we have a very generous social safety net in this state. Comes for various reasons. Part of it is our Scandinavian heritage, right? It just that's where it comes from. But you've also got people who are professional grifters and fraudsters who target these things.
Are they mostly Somali?
They're disproportionately.
Yes.
Yeah. And it is it doesn't mean everyone is bad, but you look at the names and the indictments, and you can see that this is not a matter of targeted enforcement.
These aren't a lot of Johnsons and Swensons.
No, but it's not like the individuals being caught here are being targeted based on their ethnicity.
No.
Which is a standard excuse
And
for
that'll be the
fraudsters.
excuse, yes.
Right. Okay, it's a standard excuse, and it's a powerful one,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you have a segment of society that by default is going to agree with that regardless of the facts.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, you need the better administration. And this is boring government. Okay, it's not about how much money you're putting into this system. This is about the government of Minnesota needs to do more smart things and less dumb things.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think this is a positive step. I'm glad to see they're doing this. But it has to come with not just a new label on the same product. There has to be more oversight, and there has to be more accountability at not only the employee level, but at the management and senior management level, as with any organization.
What do you think of the Capitol security situation? Were you always aware of the lax security?
Well, so, and I have a different perspective on this, and I come at this from I served there for 20 years. So when I was in the legislature, I frequently got death threats. Mm-hmm. It happened all the time, and I made the choice. Like, I never in my mind took it seriously. Mm-hmm. I feel like if someone was really going to do it, like, why would they tell me? Right?
Reveal your evil plan before.
It's like I envision somebody in their mom's basement trying to feel powerful about themselves. Right. My number one objective whenever I got it is I wanted to conceal it from my family. I didn't want anyone else worrying about it. Obviously.
Well, at least until the wedding's paid for.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I never took it seriously because it's like a bomb threat. Mm-hmm. Like, well, okay, someone wants, it just doesn't make any sense. But after Melissa Hortman's murder, you can understand why, and I'm not in office anymore, but I can understand why people have a paradigm shift. They have a different mindset. But Joe, I think it's just important, and people don't like to think about this, but it's true, right? If somebody else on this planet wants to kill any one of us, they can do it.
Right.
And so all these things about changing the access to the Capitol and putting up metal detectors and establishing a bunker, that's more it's more symbolism than substantive. Now, there's things that we should do. Like when I was in the legislature, there were times where I was sitting in committee or testifying and my back would be to the crowd. Mm-hmm. Like you shouldn't do that. There should be a set of entrances that come into the room. People should be able to face front. Like there's basic things you can do like that. But in terms of like trying to establish a more like a green zone where you're safe, I mean, people got to go home. They're going to leave that complex. They're going to walk outside. They're going to go into parking ramps. This is more symbolism over substance. And I think it's really important that all of us recognize that like we can do basic things, but don't wall off the Capitol. Don't make it. And this is easy for me to say because I'm not there, but I don't think we should do that. It doesn't.
It's highly unlikely that that's going to happen at the Capitol.
Well, again, it doesn't matter, though. The point is, like, the root problem here is you've got a maniac with weapons. Okay?
Yep.
All right. You can't bring weapons into the Capitol? Well, go stand out in the street and on the sidewalk. Go to the park. Like it's not like legislators are inaccessible. Right. It's like, okay, so you want to wall off their offices, so you got to have a pass to get in or a secure gateway. You're not really making things safe. The maniac is a maniac, and it's an uncomfortable subject. Like people don't like to think about that.
Do you think that a system should be in place where legislators at home are notified in the event another one of these morons is out there loose with a gun? In other words, a big button on your nightstand and it rings.
You mean like an Amber Alert almost?
Yeah. I mean, when a second legislator got shot, I would think that the existing communication tools we have would allow for instant communication. Mm-hmm. Now, whether that instant communication is to law enforcement to dispatch them to locations, whatever that mechanism is, because the first time you can't assume that every crime against a legislator is automatically because they're a legislator. You have 201, things can happen, right? But certainly after a second one, when you had Senator Hoffman get shot, and then when you had Representative Hortman murdered, that should have set off just screaming DEFCON 1 alarm bells.
Right.
And I know part of this is, the time of the day. But I mean, part of this is that, Joe, like most people, like when I sleep, I have my phone on Do Not Disturb. I don't.
My phone's in another room.
Yeah. And so, like, short of sending someone to my door at 4 a.m, you're not going to get a hold of me. And sometimes you don't even know where legislators are at.
Right.
And so it's an uncomfortable conversation. But at the end of the day, what I worry most about this is that this is going to reduce the number of good people who get into elected office at a time when we desperately need more good people to get involved.
Since you left, has there been any inclination or stirring of thought that you'd like to return? Are you enjoying the business world?
I love my job. See, this is the worst thing. Like when you see these these elected officials and they ask them the question and they give you like the dodgy answer. I love my job.
I'm aware of the dodgy. I think this is a dodgy answer.
Yeah, it is. No,
Even as we speak.
no, I love my job. I work with great people.
Yeah,
the grocers
yeah.
are awesome, and I don't want I'm not even thinking about it. But how can you, if you care about this state, right, and you see where we are, where we have been, where we are, and where we're going, how can part of you not be like,
right?
What do we do? Like, listen, we need to have people fix this, okay? And we are getting hijacked by the fringes in the state on the far left and the far right. So many people in the middle just want competent adulthood. And it's like, how can you not think about it? But the reality is, I did my time. I completed my sentence.
Are you open to suggestions?
Yeah.
Because loyal Garage Logic Town Council member Josh has an idea for you. Since Pat is now the president of the government-run grocery stores, how about we start calling them Mysterian Foods? Always offended, never accountable.
Yeah,
I like that idea a lot.
No, I mean, but again, I want to have some positive news here, okay? Because we're seeing, okay, have you guys seen, there is a major city in the United States that has turned the corner and is dramatically improving things as a result of common sense policies like arresting serial shoplifters, enforcing the law, cleaning up the streets.
I'm for that.
Do you know what city it is?
It's in Florida, I'm going to guess.
Nope.
Is it New York?
Nope.
San
Detroit?
Francisco.
Exactly. San Francisco. You guys, if you want to see,
Really?
if you want to be
Boy,
optimistic.
aren't you a little late to the show?
Oh, no shit. Yeah. So, but I mean, listen, late is better than never.
Yes.
If you guys want to see like this world we're living in where you've got homeless encampments and people defending wasteful spending to nonprofits, all the things that were like, does it have to be this way? The answer is no. Look at what is going on in San Francisco. Remember, San Francisco used to be a great American city.
What sparked the turnaround? Was it the threat of businesses leaving? What was the turnaround?
Well, I mean, you don't. What's the final drop that makes it? Makes the cup overflow? I don't know.
Okay.
But like, obviously, the fact that department stores couldn't stay in business, there was open shoplifting.
Sure.
Police couldn't do their jobs. I mean, like businesses were closing. It wasn't safe. People defecating on the streets.
Joe told a story about a family member that tried to buy a toothbrush in that city.
He said it was easier to buy a toothbrush in Hong Kong than it was in San Francisco.
Because everything was under glass.
Locked up
And they had to do it because, and again, there's a lot of factors that play into it. The relevant part is that if you just do some reading about what's going on in San Francisco, it's by no means perfect. They're not done. Look at what their mayor is doing there and what he is talking about. He's got a county attorney who's enforcing the law.
Interesting.
So that has to happen here.
No, and you guys, it's the turnaround that is happening. And this is not partisan politics. This is like, it's San Francisco. These folks are as progressive left as you can get. They're like, you know what? The money that's going into these nonprofits, the city's funding, we need to have more accountability. We got to spend less. We can't be raising people's taxes. We have to focus on public safety. You got to make sure that they're partnering with the private sector to bring investments in. They're listening. It's really, really good news that's happening in San Francisco.
It's not being done here.
No. And in fact the prosecuting attorney, they recalled some people out there. That's how bad things got. And so it's fascinating to see that play out, because there is, this is not like destiny. It doesn't have to be miserable. We don't have to have Minnesota slide into an Illinois, California, New York cesspool. Like, things can be better. It just takes better leadership.
Right. We don't have it, though. Not currently in place.
And our voters aren't interested in voting those people in.
Well, ultimately, the accountability is with the voters. Okay, like I'm sorry, folks, but like, if you're not active and engaged, and in Minneapolis they got a mayoral election coming up here. Okay, if the Democrat socialist candidate wins, I can say this with some authority on it, you will have fewer grocery stores in Minneapolis.
Right.
I feel absolutely confident in that prediction, because you are going to be forcing a low margin business that's got a lot of barriers to now compete with government. Right? This is what's going to happen. And so on one hand, you've got the fringe left that's like, yes, we got to send a message. We want to embrace the socialists. But then there are conservatives in Minneapolis who are like, well, things need to get worse before they get better. So I'd like to see the socialist candidate win. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
No, you don't. Okay, like it is really, really important for Minneapolis, these voters, progressive, left, center, whatever, that Mayor Fry get reelected. That is, and it's not just important for Minneapolis. It's important for the state. And so we'll see where the voters come down on things. But
how powerful is the DSA in Minneapolis? I think terribly powerful.
They are.
Yeah.
Yes. And it is
powerful enough to get this nutcase elected.
Through shenanigans.
Well, that was an endorsing convention, and let's remember that the number one variable at being an endorsing convention for a party is that you have free time. So not exactly a representative sample, even of Minneapolis, but it's ultimately this is going to be for the voters to decide. We'll see where editorial pages come in on this. We'll see what business groups do, unions. If you have a private sector union with jobs in Minneapolis and St. Paul, I don't really think you want to go the DSA route, but they're going to have to make a decision. And people like me can share my opinions, but you can understand why it's difficult. Like, here I am talking about the dangers of electing a socialist in Minneapolis, but I may not necessarily be the best messenger to get Minneapolis voters to vote a certain way. So all I can say is I hope they get it right. For all of our sake, because there is a model out there of doing things right and improving. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but look at San Francisco and the changes that are taking place there. To the flip side, there's examples of things going the wrong way.
Is there something you wanted to cover before we let you go?
Government-run sports books.
Yeah. Oh, no. One of my hobbies is sports gambling. And it's not about the money. It's about being right. So I like to make predictions and then remind people when I'm right and ignore them when I'm wrong.
Do you have some predictions you want to share with us?
I do. I have 2 predictions on the NFL season.
All right. I would love to hear them.
The first one is there is no doubt that the worst team in the National Football League this year is going to be the New Orleans Saints.
All right.
They have a rookie coach. I don't even know who their quarterback is going to be.
Okay. Neither do they.
They are awful. If you want to bet their season win total, I would be shocked if they won 4 games. So I think that's a pretty easy pick to make. The second one is if you find yourself in a sports betting establishment of a legal nature, I want you to run. Do not walk. Run to the betting counter. And I want you to bet Ashton Genty of the Las Vegas Raiders to get over 1,250 yards rushing this year. You get plus 170 money on that. This guy is the real deal. He's got Pete Carroll down there coaching. He's going to want to run a ball control offense. Ashton Genty should have been the Heisman Trophy winner in the Knicks last year. Lost out on it. But he is a very special talent in a good situation. And again, run. Do not walk. Okay. Run to the betting counter, Ashton Genty.
Is that a bet that's out there, or you just created when you get to the counter?
No, it's out there. It's out there. Oh. Yep, it's out
Pat
there.
Garofalo's lock of the year. A 3 triple star lock. Call 1-800-NO-WIN.
Pat, what are going to do?
I think they're going to do good. I think the Lions are going to decay this year with the changes in offensive coordinator, especially. I think we're going to see a return of the old Jared Goff from the new one.
I could not be more gobsmacked right now than I am.
I have a serious question.
Are you
for
reading
Pat.
the sporting news every day? What are you researching the NFL?
He's a gambling man.
Me?
Yeah.
He's a gambler.
You know more about the NFL right now than local sports writers.
You know why?
So do you know the real reason why? Because I won $30,000 last year in the NFL. Yeah. Did you guys know this story?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, do you want to hear it on there? It's a great story.
No,
Okay.
we heard
You
it.
won't understand it, but explain it to me.
So there's these things called NFL Survivor contests.
Yeah.
And what it is at the beginning of the year, you put money into a pool, and all you got to do each week is pick one team to win. That's it. One team. But you can only pick that team once. It's not versus the point spread.
Yeah.
Okay?
Just pick a winner.
You pick one, and then as the season goes on, the number of good, you've picked more and more good teams, you have a more narrow field. I entered a contest out in Las Vegas called Circa Survivor, which, by the way, the folks at Circa, I know you're listening, you should sponsor the...
I am available for endorsements.
So I entered this contest, $1,000 to enter. 14,000 people entered, so it's a $14 million prize pool. Wow. Last year, the first 3 weeks of the year, favorites got slaughtered.
Including yours?
No, not mine.
Oh.
These people got wiped out. So, if you remember, you follow the NFL closely?
Sure.
Okay, remember the Ravens lost at home to the Raiders? All these crazy things happened. So, at the end of week 3, 95% of the entries were out. So, I was one of the 5%. There's 650 of us. Well, you can take your entry and you can sell shares of it on the secondary market. So I was like, hey, I'm going to sell this. It was worth I'm going to sell 10 or 20% of this, make a couple thousand. I ended up talking to the guy who runs the website, and in order to bid on this, you have to have money on escrow. It's digital contracts. It's all legit. He said, if you're willing to give up control of your entry, I'll have someone who'll pay you $30,000 for your entry today.
Yep, take it.
And somebody gave you $30,000 for your entry.
And it was.
I wonder how they did.
Well, it's funny. So, anyways, it's super easy. You sign the digital contracts. They wire the money to you. It's done. It's called Survivor Sweat. That's what the thing is. So, after that, the entry is still in my name. Now, we've transferred all legal ownership to it, but at the Circa Sportsbook, it still said Garofalo 2. That was the entry. So, I tracked this guy's picks, and I never met him, but at some point, he decided, he was making it through. I think he got to I forget what week it is, but he decided he was going to get by taking the Giants over the Patriots over in London. And I saw it, and I'm like, that is a huge mistake because it's an international game. And yes, the Patriots are awful, but the Giants are really bad. And the Patriots ended up winning. So this guy just blew up his entry. Yep.
What if you would have kept it with your picks? Would you have won?
I would not have won, but I would have made it to week 15.
Would you have gotten paid?
Well, it's all...
Or is it just one winner?
So what happens is, the way this contest works is you got to pick one each week.
Yeah.
You have to make it to the end to officially win. Okay? So you got to go undefeated the whole year. But you can engage in hedging strategies. You can sell portions of your entry. You can sell your entry. I will tell you that once I found out that my entry, I could get $30,000 for it, even though I didn't have the money, in my mind, I was no longer betting $1,000. I was betting $30,000.
Yep.
Now, I understand I didn't have the money in hand, but in my mind, that's just above my risk profile.
That's the actual value of your
product.
Yeah.
That was
above your
right.
number.
And the thing is, the entry was at that time, it was only worth $22,000, but it's the fear of missing out.
Right.
There were only 600. There were only 653 entries in this pool. You can't buy in. Some guy somewhere wanted to be part of the show, and so you ask, why do I pay attention to it?
Yeah.
That's why.
I guess so. Hey, it would be fun to have you come back about week 5 or 6 and let's talk about what's going on.
Oh, to see where I'm at?
Yeah.
Pat's lock of the week.
Yeah. How about some advice, Pat? If somebody's interested in getting into sports gambling, what would you say is the best entry-level, safest proposition you can do? For instance, I was always told bet the under on all hockey games, all NHL games. Always bet the under. Do you have any advice like that?
Well, so it depends on the sport, but I'm assuming like for given the calendar, like pro football, probably.
Sure. Yeah.
I would say there are very few strategies that are proven winners over the long term, but one of those is this: fade the public, bet against the public. So when you have a game that's coming up where Team A and Team B and 70% of the public is on Team A on the point spread, even though you're going to hate it, bet Team B.
That's how I used to win with the horses. And that's a sound strategy for horses.
And again, it doesn't mean you're going to win every time, but just if you look at long-term metadata, the public, when the public is stacking up on one side of a betting line and the sports books don't move the number, okay, that's the sports books betting on the other side. Okay. And listen, I can study this stuff until the cows come home, but I don't know as much as the sports books do. And so when you see that data point where money is coming in on one side and the books are not moving the betting line, that's a strategy that everyone can understand. You can have fun with. But for me, with the Circa thing, what I didn't tell you about this, Joe, is that so I cashed out, right? Then I said, well, let's pretend I was in the contest. Who would I be betting on?
Yeah.
So I took some money and I bet that on a team, and they won. And then I parlayed it the next week and said, do it there. And then that won. And I kept doing that. So, and then at some point I got to that breaking point where it was too much money. I took money off the table and started over. Now that's what I did. And it's fun, but
Well, you have a very disciplined risk profile.
I would roll the dice and lose all my money.
Well, but seriously, how many? Don't you think the vast majority of your listeners, if they were presented with an opportunity to cash out a 30-1 winner,
of course,
most people would have taken it. But
I used to work with guys that would hang out at the blackjack table in the sports book, Pat, and their thing was you have to know when to go to the airport. You got to push away, get your ass to the airport, and get home with whatever you have.
We got to wrap this up, boys.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fascinating. I'm serious. Come back, week 5 or 6? That might be fun, huh?
Yeah, or I might be really pissed off.
Right. Either way, it'd be interesting to know.
I'm flying out to. So the deal is, you have to go to Vegas to sign up.
Oh,
so
you're doing it again.
Oh yeah.
Might
So,
be sending you some money. Are you also? I know you're worried about money, but do you also have that Pepsi endorsement? I noticed your socks today.
Oh yeah, geez,
Pepsi Cola. He's got Pepsi Cola spots or socks on right now.
I
don't know if that's like a.
My family buys me socks. Like I have Twinkies socks and just things I like. I was not expecting to come in studio, but as Joe, as always, it's good to see you and my friends again.
Pat, thank you, and you've given me some hope.
You should.
For betting or for
the Justice Department is going to be my source of hope.
Well, in San Francisco too. I'm serious. Look at what's going on.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be this way.
All right, thank you, Pat Garofalo.
It's the end of the world as we know it, and he feels fine. Joe Souchere.
So, GLers, you guys are so awesome. You're all getting way, way out there with experimenting with Bugs Be Gone on organic material. I thought I'd give it a try over the weekend, rented a stump grinder, was instructed to wash it before I returned it, so I sprayed the whole thing down, all the dirty parts anyway, with Bugs Be Gone, then scrubbed it and rinsed it. And yeah, Viola, who's good as new, it worked awesome. But that's not very impressive when compared to this email from Bob, a GLer. I think I found another use for Bugs Be Gone, Bob writes. I pulled into a field crossing last week, and a skunk must have sprayed the grass, and it got on my rear tire. When I got back to the shop, I could still smell it. So I sprayed the tire down with Bugs Be Gone, and it took care of the smell.
That is a new use.
I think Bob wins here. I think that might be the best one ever. I know last week we had Greg, who used Bugs Be Gone to clean up his nasty bird bath, making it look brand new and saving him from buying a new one. You GLers, I got to give it to you. You guys are brilliant. You gals, you're so wonderful. And so is Bugs Be Gone from Seafoam. Look for it wherever you find automotive chemicals or order it online from seafoamworks.com. I just received an email before the show started about a guy that found Bugs Be Gone in the most unlikely spot. And I want to read that to you on Wednesday. A local company with a global reach, seafoamworks.com.
Here's John Heidt in his newsroom.
Thank you, Joe. This news brought to you by North American Banking Company. For now, anyway, state officials have canceled what had been a record 6-day air quality alert. But state and federal air quality monitors still say an area of unhealthy air for people with sensitivity could resurface at some point today or tomorrow. Minneapolis had the 5th worst air quality among 125 cities worldwide on Saturday morning. According to IQ Air, an international air quality monitoring platform, the city has dropped in the rankings since after the air quality has gotten better. Workers with Health Partners in Stillwater announcing this morning that they have voted to authorize a strike. The workers still don't have a deal on a new contract after striking for 4 days in July. 84% of the workers voted to authorize the strike. There's not currently a date set for the strike. The union would need to give a 10-day notice. The union and Health Partners have met 8 times since May. The union says a deal is close, but that there are still major changes needed on things like pay and bonuses for long-term employees. The parties return to the bargaining table on Wednesday. Police in Fargo say they've identified the man who fatally shot one person and wounded 2 others late at night over the weekend and are hoping tips from the public will lead to his arrest. The fatal shooting was the first of 2 in separate parts of the city within a 30-minute span. Shortly before 2 in the morning on Sunday, 3 adults were shot downtown Fargo outside the District 64 nightclub. Officers arrived and gave immediate aid to victims. They also had to call in extra police because a large crowd started to become unruly when they showed up. Along with one person who was pronounced dead at the scene, a second victim was in critical condition as of Sunday night. The third victim suffered non-critical wounds. Police say the gunman is 22-year-old Tyreek Patrick Jones of Fargo. Court records in North Dakota show that he's been convicted of resisting police, theft, drug possession, and terroristic threats. Then, as of about 2:25 Sunday morning, officers responded to another shooting, that one outside an apartment complex. And they're not saying if they are related or they aren't related shootings. Police say they're not sure where the man is, and they are still looking for him. They say he should be considered armed and dangerous. According to the Edina Police Department, 3 people arrested late Friday night after a late-night break-in at a library. About 10:42 p.m., police said officers responded to a burglary in progress at 7001 York Avenue at the Southdale Library. About 11 o'clock, police said the area was secure and 3 people had been taken into custody. The suspects, a 41-year-old female, a 38-year-old female, and a 35-year-old male who were arrested in connection with the burglary. At this time, it's unknown if any items were taken from the library. The investigation into the incident is ongoing.
Is there money in the library? No.
Computers was the only thing I could think of.
Especially not anymore because they don't take your fees, remember?
They won't take cash.
Right.
Somebody steal a copy of Lady Chatterley's Lover?
Yeah.
And Stevie Nicks fans will have to wait a little bit longer to see her latest concert in Minnesota. On the singer's social media, a statement said due to a fractured shoulder that will require recovery time, her concerts in August and September will be rescheduled. The Post adds any shows in October will not be impacted. She was supposed to be here in a couple of weeks at the Xcel Energy Center, but that concert now has been postponed until November 12th. Ticket holders should hold on to their tickets as they will be honored on the new date.
I'd like to know how she fractured her shoulder. That's not in the news.
Of the age where
we
fall down.
Fall down, I guess, huh?
We fall down.
Yeah.
That's
what we do.
Yep. Why don't we take a quick
You
break
see,
here?
wait.
Yeah, huh?
There was a story yesterday about more people fall down in Minnesota than any other state.
Because of the ice?
No, just old people in Minnesota fall down a lot.
When's the last time you fell down?
It's been a while.
Okay, good.
Boy, there is nothing that makes me more angry than on social where people laugh at somebody who falls on the ice.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
Jerks. They have no idea what that's like.
Do you want me to tell you about this?
Can you? Yeah, sure. Yes.
Well, I have an email about Precision Door. Your garage door people, Precision Door MN, serving western Wisconsin and the metro. Joe, yesterday, this was last week, I set up an appointment with Precision Door for between 2 and 4 p.m. Reason was a battery in our large door was beeping while the power was out this week. The battery is a wonderful backup when we don't have electricity, and I thought we needed a new battery. The door has a lifetime warranty, but I was told there'd be an $85 trip charge. Precision had installed the new motor with battery some years ago. Mike texted, emailed, and called at 1:22 saying a job finished early and he'd be right over. He explained to me that the beeping was due to the battery losing power after some usage, especially since it's a 10-foot door. He said it was easily recharged by now. I thought, great. We started to get in. My billfold, Mike said, I'll have to charge you next time, but no charge today. He said, you're a good customer, and I know you are telling people about us, which I do. Such a great experience. Old John Harrington from Stillwater. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
They waived that. When I told them I was the mayor, they didn't waive that.
It doesn't work for everybody, Joe.
And if you need a new door, Precision Door has models for every budget. The designer comes out, that's free. And right now, Precision Door is giving GLers $100 off a single door and $200 off a double door. Book online at precisiondoormn.com or call Precision Door at 612-263-6985.
a little jealous.
I couldn't resist.
Sure. Here's Johnny Heidt with Express.
Yeah, they got a thing there. Here we go.
No sounder. No.
Oh, I forgot it.
I tell you what, before I get to
I'm still
news,
thinking how Pat lost me when we said the word Ravens. And then after that, everything was just...
Hey, remember when Dallas beat Chicago?
No, I don't.
Sorry.
I know.
What I loved about that is Pat went from being Pat to being very excited, bouncing in his seat, gesturing, and you can tell he really, really loves it.
He's got the mind for that.
Yeah.
I'm afraid I don't.
I'll let you in on a little secret. When I was escorting him out the front door, I just basically closed the door on him while he was still talking about it. And then the Ravens beat the Chargers, and they went to this, and I just closed the door and just skulked away. He's probably still out there talking.
Before I get to more news here, I want to tell you about something else, Kay. So listen up here. I know. Probably none of you, the listeners, or the people on the show, none of you watch any porn or anything like that.
I do not, because I find it depressing. It's just not a good thing.
I usually do it during the show.
Yeah.
But just in case you do, you might have a friend or two, or I don't want to say a family member, but somebody you know may watch something like that. Well, let me pass this along to you. Incognito mode does not make you incognito. Just check your fine print. All your late-night computer activities, whatever they may be, are still 100% visible to a ton of third parties unless you use ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN also lets you change your online location, so wherever you're at, you can control what you want streaming services. Steaming? How about streaming services?
Well, you were talking porn.
I wasn't in Lakeville.
Control where streaming services think you're located. In other words, let's say you're wanting to watch something on Netflix. You may not know this. I did not until I encountered this. Netflix has servers in over 100 countries around the world, and the programming is different. So if you change your location on ExpressVPN, you can gain access to thousands of new shows, and that works for a lot of other streaming services too, like Disney Plus, BBC iPlayer, and lots more. Best yet, ExpressVPN has been rated #1 by top tech viewers like CNET and The Verge. It works on all your devices, phones. You can use it on laptops, tablets, smart TVs, and more. And it's really easy. All you got to do is fire up the app and click one button to change locations. I use ExpressVPN. I use it all the time, but it really makes me feel secure when I travel. If I'm in a hotel room, it gives me that protection from anyone trying to hack into my info, creating an encrypted tunnel to stop my info from being stolen. Protect your online privacy today by visiting expressvpn.com/GL. That's expressvpn.com/GL, and find out how you can get up to 4 extra months free. expressvpn.com/GL. GL.
John, before you return to the newsroom, I feel I owe it to the GL audience and the mayor himself every time Governor Tim Walz issues a tweet.
Yes.
18 minutes ago, new in all capital letters. Minnesota just ranked the third best state to have a baby. Matthew Mikulski.
Oh, really?
That's no coincidence. We're expanding paid leave and childcare, delivering a nation-leading child tax credit, and investing in public schools. We're putting families first, and it's making a difference.
Thanks, Tim.
What about... No, not going to do it.
Not going to do it. National news. Senators began their August recess over the weekend without a deal to confirm nominees to dozens of government positions. Republicans said they will pursue rule changes in September, enabling them to speed up that process. When President Trump didn't like that weak jobs numbers that we told you about on Friday, he just fired the person responsible for producing them. Bureau of Labor Statistics is officially part of the Labor Department, whose secretary is a member of the president's cabinet, but the agency operates independently, producing detailed nonpartisan data on employment, prices, wages, and other topics. Economists say that reliable, independently produced stats are critical to good decision-making in both the public and private sector. Officials at the Federal Reserve rely on government-collected data on inflation and unemployment to decide how to settle interest rates, which affect how much Americans must pay to get a mortgage or a car loan. Economists say the future should be watched closely to make sure the numbers coming out are honest and not skewed by any administration in charge of the government. A new poll says the vast majority of U.S. adults are at least somewhat stressed out about the cost of groceries as prices continue to rise. About half of all Americans say the cost of groceries is a major source of stress in their life. 33% say it's a minor source of stress, and only 14% say it's not a source of stress. This is an NORC, Center for Public Affairs Research, and Associated Press poll. Other financial stressors like the cost of housing or the amount of money in their bank accounts also is broadly felt, but they weigh more heavily on younger Americans who say they are less likely than older adults to have significant savings or own property. A few deaths we should talk about. Hate talking death, but you got to sometimes. The master of the Tex-Mex accordion, Leonardo Flaco Jimenez, whose tradition-drenched sound came to define Tejano music, has died. Throughout a career that spanned more than 70 years, he carried that sound to an international audience. He was 86 years old. He collaborated with Ry Cooder, Dr. John. He was a member of Doug Sam's band, the Texas Tornadoes. Also played with Carlos Santana. From the late 80s through the 90s, he was on hundreds of albums, recording with artists as varied as Bob Dylan, Dwight Yoakam, and the Rolling Stones.
Did he play on She's About a Mover?
No, that was Augie Myers. He played the
Thank
organ.
you.
He played later with Doug. Lonnie Anderson, who played a struggling radio station's empowered receptionist on the hit TV comedy WKRP in Cincinnati, died Sunday, just a few days before her 80th birthday. She died at a Los Angeles hospital. Her publicist said she died following a prolonged illness. You may remember her as Jennifer Marlowe, the station's receptionist on the television show. The blonde and high-heeled Jennifer routinely deflected unwanted business calls for her boss, Mr. Carlson. Her efficiency often kept the station running in the face of everyone else's incompetence. The role earned Anderson 2 Emmy Award nominations and 3 Golden Globe nominations. Anderson starred on the big screen alongside Burt Reynolds in the 1983 comedy Stroker Ace, and the two later married and became tabloid fixtures before a messy breakup in 1994. She was married 4 times. Anderson, born August 5th, 1945, right in St. Paul, Minnesota.
And she grew up on the south shore of Lake Owasso, according to Kelsey. And I'm looking at a picture of her here, John. She's posed on one of the railings of a blue water houseboat on Lake Minnetonka. A friend of Kelsey's said that she did photos for that outfit. And he grew up in Roseville, Kelsey did, and he knows 2 people who had her as their babysitter.
Wow.
Those lucky kids.
Wow.
Yeah. I have a question because, I mean, I've watched reruns and whatnot of WKRP, but with her role, with Lonnie Anderson's role on that show, that tells me that you had a really bad program director. Why was she the secretary when she could have been, you know?
She was not the secretary. No, she
ran everything.
Yeah, she just sat there and ran things.
There's Lonnie on Lake Minnetonka.
Show me that picture one more time. Oh, you cut out the guy in the other houseboat.
Yeah.
In the email, if you take a look at that,
There's one here.
If you zoom in on that, he's
falling overboard.
He seems to be doing something else.
He's smitten.
He's smitten as he's looking at.
Well, that's
Lonnie.
one way to put it.
Yeah.
Well, she was an attractive gal. Went to Alexander Ramsey High School.
And Twin Cities business owner, comedian, playwright, and actor Joe Menhardis died on July 21st. He had been hospitalized for several days with pneumonia and lung-related issues, although an official cause of death has not been determined. He had dealt with pulmonary fibrosis since 2011 and had a lung transplant in 2017. He was a fixture on the Twin Cities comedy scene starting in the 1980s, opening for comics like Jerry Seinfeld, Jeff Foxworthy, and more. His many credits as a playwright and actor included appearances in shows like Roseanne and ER, as well as films like The Truman Show and Wilson. Locally, he owned the Tex-Mex restaurant Pepitos in South Minneapolis for more than 40 years. He also owned the adjoining Parkway Theater, which paid tribute to Menhardis on its marquee on Wednesday. The theater reopened under new ownership following the 2017 closing of Pepitos. Tributes and memories of Menhardis poured in from friends and admirers, including comedians, actors, arts lovers, and theaters like the Mixed Blood Theater Company.
How old was he?
Did I say that?
I don't know.
He knew a lot of actors and celebrities, and they would all go to Pepitos, and then Joe would mark where they sat, the booth they sat in, with a little plaque.
That's cool.
So you'd be able to sit in the booth that a celebrity sat in. But best Sunday brunch in the Twin Cities. They had a food bar kind of thing going, and it was just amazing.
Oh.
Yeah. Fun bar, Pepitos.
In Montana, I haven't checked in a couple of hours now, but they're still looking for a former U.S. soldier suspected of killing 4 people at a Montana bar. Still at large, authorities think 45-year-old Michael Paul Brown killed 4 people Friday morning at the Owl Bar in Anaconda, Montana, which is about 75 miles southeast of Missoula. Montana Attorney General Austin Knudsen said at a news conference yesterday that Brown committed the shooting with a rifle that law enforcement thinks was his personal weapon. The victims ranged in age from 59 to 74, a female bartender and 3 male patrons. The mayor warned residents of the town of just over 9,000 that Brown, who lived next door to the bar where he was a regular, could come back to the area. It's an unstable individual, the mayor said, who walked in and murdered 4 people, so there is absolutely concern for the public. Numerous public events were canceled over the weekend in the area as the search continued. Brown served in the Army as an armor crewman from 2001 to 2005, deployed in Iraq from early 2004 until March of 2005. He was in the Montana National Guard until March 2009. Brown's niece told the Associated Press her uncle has struggled with mental illness for years, and she and other family members have sought help. She said in a Facebook message, "This isn't just a drunk or high man going wild. It's a sick man who doesn't know who he is sometimes and frequently doesn't know where or when he is either. If you run into him, the authorities say you should assume him to be dangerous." Tesla is liable for $243 million in damages after a jury found Friday the company's driver assistance technology was partly responsible for a fatal 2019 crash. Legal experts say the judgment, likely to be appealed, may set a significant precedent in cases involving self-driving technology. In the accident in question, a Tesla Model S hit and killed 22-year-old Nibel Leon and injured her boyfriend after running through a stop sign in Key Largo, Florida. The driver said he had Tesla's Autopilot, a slimmed-down version of its full self-driving software typically used on highways, engaged when he dropped his cell phone.
Garofalo just got a new Tesla, and he was waxing poetically about it's driverless.
The self-driving mode.
Self-driving.
Shouldn't you be ready to take over at any second?
Well, he wanted to take me for a ride.
nervous.
And I said, well, he said he'd sit in the driver's seat. And I said, I don't know. I don't buy it. I'm sorry. I just don't.
Well, you could get in the back and can apricots.
Yeah.
Hey now.
But I
by yourself.
That's a problem that didn't need to be fixed. We don't need to have cars drive us. I just don't. I disagree.
I recently rode in one, and I was amazed at that feature, but I can't get over the fact that once you take your foot off the gas, you don't use a brake, the car slows down. I'd never touch the brake.
Yeah. That would be,
John, thank you.
You know what that is? That's nuts.
It is nuts. I
We
think
are
it
nuts.
is nuts.
When the world is nuts.
Has been around here since 1987, locally based in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We Are Nuts has been the ultimate craft roaster of prized handmade and small batch nuts, trail mixes, nut butters, caramel corns, and candies. It's a family-run operation. The Burt Boys. Dad, he's Jim. He's also known as Mr. Big Nuts. And the three sons. It's just so earth-shattering you can't control your microphone. Michael, Tommy, and Jimmy are the three sons of the Burt Boys. And you know what? They make the best quality snacks right here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Go to their website, wearenutsmn.com, and you can see every single delicious snack that they have to offer. But you know what? We're getting a lot of really cool reports on social media from people walking in to Fratelloni's Hardware and their new end caps, and their sales are booming right now with We Are Nuts and wearenutsmn.com. The family sources only the highest quality nuts from the very best farms from all over the world, and is always innovating through their small batch creations, finding new flavor combinations that make each bite unique and memorable.
I think so.
Check them out online today. wearenutsmn.com. Place your order and let them know that you heard about them here on the Garage Logic podcast.
Anybody doing something?
Nope.
Here's a man who spends hours in hardware stores, sifting through the nuts and bolts of life.
Boy,
Joe Souchere.
I'd tune in tomorrow if I were you, because I got a lot of stuff I didn't get to today.
We didn't get to Ash today because of Garofalo.
Oh, which was great. I loved having them. Only because they come to us all the way from Marloth Park in Mpumalanga Province, South Africa. From our friends, the Traveling Lymans. It was on this day,
August 4th.
in 1854. Congress approved legislation guaranteeing preemption for Minnesota settler colonists squatting on lands that had not been surveyed. Oh, I had a Royce-like gas attack. Here's another one. Technically, the land could be sold only after being surveyed, but whites had poured into lands purchased from the Dakota and Ojibwe, sometimes making substantial improvements before the surveyors completed their work. This act, sponsored by Delegate Henry H. Sibley, who was almost in every day on this day in history, allowed the settler colonists to purchase their land after the fact. On this day,
August 4th.
in 1857, one of a series of arson fires in St. Paul destroyed virtually all the buildings between Market, St. Peter, St. Anthony, and 4th Streets. These fires led to looting, and citizens formed a vigilance committee to patrol the streets. On this day,
August 4th.
in 1892, on St. Paul's west side, heavy rains created a lake behind the landfill near Page and Brown Streets. When the dam gave way, 3 died in the resulting flood. See, we had heavy rains even as long ago as 1892, I guess. On this day,
On August 4th.
in 1916, Amos Owen was born in Sisseton Reservation, South Dakota. He moved to the Prairie Island Indian Reservation at age 16 and later became a prominent spiritual leader, tribal chairman, and pipe carrier of the Dakota. And
How you doing?
on this day in Minnesota sports history,
On August 4th.
well, on this day in 1984, Les Steckel had his first game as head coach, replacing Bud Grant.
Didn't go well.
Must have been a practice game.
Might have been.
Yeah. And on this day,
On August 4th.
very important baseball note involving the Twins.
What year?
1985, August 4th.
We have the big
They
trade.
signed Kirby Puckett.
I'm sorry. Well, it did involve the Twins, but I believe
Okay.
the fellow in question was not with the Twins. Rodney Carew got his 3,000th hit
With the Angels. Sure.
against the Twins and Frankie Viola was
So you got it
pitching.
off Viola, yeah.
Yeah.
Was that at home?
Nope, Angel Stadium.
3,000 hits.
That's a lot, Joe.
A lot of.
That's not
Major
a
League ball
disappointment,
players
is it?
have
I
gotten
guess
their
it's a
3,000 hit
disappointment. I guess it's a disappointment that he was with the Angels. Yeah.
But a lot of Major League Baseball guys have gotten their 2,000 or 3,000th hit in the Metrodome.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It sounds like you made that up.
No, you want to bet on it? This isn't a stat. I just looked at from the scoreboard to show my buddies how smart I was.
No, I don't have any interest in a bet.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you to Pat Garofalo for joining us and giving us all of that great betting information. And you know what? You could have watched him on the show if you subscribe to the Garage Logic YouTube channel. That's right. Doesn't cost you anything. Hit subscribe on the Garage Logic YouTube channel, and you can watch the show each and every single day starting right around noon. And you can also see full segments, video shorts. There's behind-the-scenes footage, but it's all there for you. Just search Garage Logic on YouTube and search Garage Logic on all of our social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Rookie.
3 Major League Baseball players achieved milestone hits at the Metrodome. Dave Winfield, Eddie Murray, and Cal Ripken Jr. Winfield and Murray got their 3,000th career hit there. Ripken joined them in the 3,000 club at the Metrodome.
Winfield was a 3,000 hit guy?
Yes.
Huh. I guess I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that.
Pat would have known that. See?
At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.